Olabomi, and I am the team leader of One House Development Initiative. One House Development Initiative is a non-profit and non-partisan organization which functions in the thematic areas of education, health, and inclusion, as you may have known. Well, we know that any country, any nation that will function right will have its citizens, especially the young ones, the children, the adolescents and teenagers, educated. And anyone who's going to get educated must have good health to go on with it, because without good health, nobody can be in any classes to learn. And also, while we're now doing some mapping of stakeholders, we got to know about a group of persons that have been seriously marginalized. And I would say that they are the people with disabilities. As much as they have been very much marginalized, there is another section of them that is even much more marginalized, and a lot of us don't even know about them. And while we're doing our mappings, we found out about them, and they are called the people or persons with special needs. And when we now look at the manual of the SDG, Sustainable Development Goals, that says that no one should be left behind, we found out that they too are part of us, they're part of the society, and we cannot leave them behind. And that is where the thematic areas that we work on at One House Development Initiative come from: education, health, and inclusion. And that is why our theme for today says inclusiveness, a pathway to national development. While we work on the field, getting to schools, we go through those work with education, we go through with the work with health, we go to primary healthcare centers. And while we're doing all this work, we found out a few things that were kind of very scary. And these are the things we decided to bring out as matters arising to us all here today. And now, I will talk about some of those things, and I would narrate them in stories so that we'll get to hold on to this information, that we can work together from there. I want to say a big thank you to the SDG office for giving us that offer of partnership and collaboration with One House Development Initiative. We intend to work with you, and we also intend to draw out all of the values and qualities we can get from that relationship. Thank you very much, sir. And we hope that the SC will get the information from us. Now, when we go to the primary healthcare centers, okay, let me start from education first. While we do the work we do with schools, we found out that there are a lot of schools on the outside that are not up to par. That is on one side. Then according to Statistics, they gave us this information and detail on data that the number of out-of-school children we have in Osun State is 150,000. That's a very scary number. Globally now, 198 countries in the world, Nigeria has the worst number of out-of-school children. That is almost 20 million out-of-school children in Nigeria alone. That's the worst worldwide. If there's anything that should be scary to us, I think that is one thing that should be scary to us. Now, coming down to the southwest here, Osun State has a population of about 4.7 million. So out of those 4.7 million, we have 150,000 out-of-school children. Let's go to Lagos. Lagos, which is a very humongous number of population, they have 160,000 out-of-school children. That's just 10,000 from us. Ekiti State, which is also a southwest state with us, their own population is almost half of ours, and they have the number of out-of-school children to be put at 40,000. If we were to multiply their population by 2, they'll be very close to our number, which will still give them the number of out-of-school children to be at 80,000. Compare that to that we have in Australia, that's a 70,000 gap. That number is a very scary one for anybody who cares to know. For those who have been on the streets, you know that many of these people who are on the streets who don't have access to education are turning out to be menaces to us. And if we do not nip that in the bud, we never can tell what will happen in the nearest future. Let us also note that the information, the data we got from WAEC recently. Osun State did not even get rated up to the top 20 in Nigeria. This is very disastrous. Let's go now to health. Neonatal mortality rates of the SDG target is to have just 12. It's to have 1 in 1,000 mortality rates. Unfortunately, the states are not doing very fine, but Supe has a very good number in that lane because so far so good. Only 6 states have been able to achieve this with the FCT, and Osun State stands at number 7 out of the 36 states in Nigeria, which I think is still fair. But we cannot afford to rest on our horse because we have that number that is good for us. Now, let me now go to the stories that we found so that we can now relate to what we have. First of all, there was a story I call the story of the triplets. I remember that my wife and I put out a percentage of our income to take care of less privileged people, the country people in the society. Then we went to a particular orphanage in town and we met these very tiny triplets, 3 boys. They were so tiny that they could not be circumcised until after 3 months of their birth. A lot of unfortunate situations surrounded them. Their mother passed on exactly 1 hour after she delivered them. The man who fathered them ran away. This is one of the reasons we decided to make this open report to us and seek for partnership, collaboration, and help to make sure that our state gets better with time, that we can work together as a team. I also go to the people with special needs because we know we are doing inclusion. When we go to them, we found out a lot of things. We have to the school, we have to go through all the hoops to get to them. And we found out there are 9 special needs schools in Osun State, 9. These are some of the bad information. There is one, which is the senior secondary education or senior secondary school for people with special needs. Thank you very much, sir, for being present with us, the principal, Mr. Igwe. We have to go there over and over, and every time we have to have that meeting, it's an experience for me because I go there with my team. Sometimes some other organizations join us. They will not have to have a meeting. Imagine having a meeting with somebody who doesn't speak. Then there is another person especially who speaks English, he speaks Yoruba, and he speaks sign language. So we speak, he does interpretation to the person who doesn't speak. The other person speaks with sign language and speaks back to us. That was when I started learning some of their greetings in sign languages. We found all these things around. But this is where the problem lies. We found out that that school does not have perimeter fencing. Something dangerous almost happened. To enter the school, there is a place where we have these trailer parks. One of those trailers lost its control, and a child with special needs was moving along that line. It was just by the skin of the feet that child was saved that day, because there is no perimeter fencing for them. Also, we found out that most of the things they need for their learning, they do not have. We made some inquiries that we did not involve the school about. And we found out that even the government has not checked out their budget in years. Imagine a child having an amount of money to feed per meal about 5 years ago, and the same amount is still being scheduled for that child today. How would that work? That's the situation that we have. Number 2, they do not have a dining hall or any multiple hall for that matter. They need it. Their teacher, their art teacher, also a special needs person who doesn't speak, is right here with us, Mr. Adedeji, okay, Adedeji, seated at the back over there. He is an able-bodied man, and he will teach them artworks, he will teach them shoemaking, but unfortunately the materials for the shoemaking and the artwork are not available to them. They have another teacher who teaches them fascinator making and a few other things, but these materials are not available to the special needs members of our society. We tried to reach out a bit to some other people who are willing to join on this quest, but want to use this to call on the government to help us to respond to them and review their budget upwards. That's one of the recommendations that we're giving for that school of special needs and every other one around. We also want to say about laws and policies. We found out, because we have to work with the Ministry of Justice on this, and we found out that while we're pushing for laws to make it a crime to have a child that you will not cater for in school, so we were advised to make up some of the searches, and the Ministry of Justice was magnanimous enough to help us through our advice on legal matters, and we found out there is actually a law that criminalizes it. The law actually states that any person who has a child that is not in school on the first time of being caught with that will be reprimanded. When the person gets caught the second time, they are going to pay a fine of an amount of the money. And they also have a chance, let me call it a chance, to go and spend a time in jail for a period of not more than 1 month. Yes, it is in our law. Then on the third count is actually a bigger one. What are we advocating for in this? We want to advocate for the enforcement of this law. As much as we will not stop anybody from having the number of children they want to have, we believe that nobody should bring in children that they will not cater for, thereby putting the mothers also in problems. We've had situations whereby a lot of pregnant women will fall down by the road, and we have to explain to them that, see, for a man, you are not supplying your blood to a lot of places. But for the pregnant woman, the placenta will take its own without minding how much blood the woman has. The baby will take his own, not minding how much the woman has. And once they take theirs and it's not enough, the woman falls down. And that's when we see people collapsing with pregnancy. Anyone who will not be able to take care of this should not dabble into it. Nobody should be free enough to feel they can just get up to any girl and just do anyhow and go easy with it. That is why we are advocating for this law to be enforced in our society. We also want to ask and request that the schools will work with us. We're calling on NAPS, National Association of Private Providers of Schools, which is ably represented here. We're calling on AMIs, we're calling on HAPS, we're calling on the government to join us to do all of this work with a special needs school, with the regular schools, with educational bodies, with health bodies, to make our society a better place. We did a little work with the primary healthcare center at Enikoyu. Thank you very much, sir. Mr. Tubosun Olabomi is the health analyst who helped us while we're doing the work, and a few other matrons in the house. And we're able to design an immunization tracker because we found out that a lot of children in this state today are not totally immunized. It was very dangerous because how do you fall into a sickness that is actually avoidable because you do not go for immunization? So when we did that, we got a little bit feedback, and we intend to still do more on the feedback and publish it to everybody. That the track actually helps them to track when they're supposed to have their child's next immunization, which now makes the children get complete immunization. We want to do more of that and even make it into Android and iOS applications for phones so that everyone can benefit from this. We see the collaboration and partnership for this. We also want to do more of this advocacy while we print the paper ones because the local woman is able to work with her rather than with the one on the phone. We intend to do more of that. We want to say a big thank you to the government for sending us 23 new special needs teachers, which have been circulated around the special needs school, but we still need more.